In poker, there is a dealer chip, normally a large white disc known as the button. This indicates which of the players is on the button or acting as the nominal dealer. After each hand, the button moves one place to the left so that everyone gets to be on the button. Before the start of each hand, 2 compulsory bets must be made or posted. These bets are called blinds. Now, there are 2 blinds, a small blind, which has to be posted by the player to the left of the dealer, and the big blind, which is usually twice the value of the small blind and is posted by the player on the left of the small blind. As the dealer button moves around the table, so too do the blinds, ensuring that everyone takes it in turn to make these forced bets. Being on the button brings an advantage from the second betting round onwards, that is, after the flop. This is because if you're on the button, you get to see what everyone else does with their hand before you have to act, so you have more information on which to base your betting decision. As well as starting the betting action of each hand, blinds play an important role in the structure of a tournament. All tournaments have a system that sees the blinds increase at regular intervals. This helps to control the overall duration of a tournament. Blinds are usually very low at the start, but they increase after so many hands have been played, or, more usually, after a given period of time. A typical structure would see the blinds double every 10 or 15 minutes. When the blinds increase, the tournament is said to have gone up a level. So after the first increase in blinds, the tournament is said to be at level 2. With blinds increasing every 15 minutes, a tournament would be at level 8 after 2 hours. As the tournament develops and the blinds increase, they become more attractive and worth winning for anyone at the table. And as the blinds become larger, other players will often attempt to steal them by putting in a raise in the hope that the players on the blinds will fold, leaving the attacker to walk off with the chips. If you find yourself under attack when you're playing the blinds, the other players have either sensed weakness or are just making a common poker move, which is an attempt to steal the blinds. This is a move most often made by a player in a late position, typically the player on the button if everyone else has folded. To counter such a move, particularly if other players start trying the same thing, you have to defend. Attack is the best form of defense, and that means raising. The premium hands like ace-king or ace-queen play themselves, but you can defend with hands like 9-10 suited. This is better in this situation than, say, ace-3, because you're more likely to have been raised by someone holding a big ace, like ace-queen. At least in this situation, you've got some options, and if you hit the flop with a flush or straight, you'll be picking up a very nice pot indeed. Now, don't feel compelled to play too many weak hands from the blinds unless you can see the flop very cheaply. Just because you already have chips in the pot doesn't mean you have to bet more to try and win them back. Being on the blind puts you at a disadvantage. First, you've had to put your chips in before you've seen your cards. Not good. And second, you're going to be out of position for all of the betting rounds except the first one. Also, not good. For these reasons, and if you want to avoid losing chips from the blinds, continue to be selective over which hands you play. The major advantage of being on a blind is that you're last or next to last to act in the first betting round. So, how can you maximise this position to your benefit? Most players defend their blinds too often, feeling that they already have money invested in the pot, so should always play. The problem with this is that for all betting rounds after the opening one, you're first or second to act every time, so you're always having to act with no idea about how opponents behind you will play. Not a good situation. For this reason, look for opportunities to raise from the blind, but only with big hands. And when we say big, we're talking about hands like these, unless, of course, your blinds are constantly under attack and you feel you need to make a stand. Because of your position in later betting rounds, raising with anything but these monster cards is a very risky play. That's because usually a good size raise causes others to fold, but when done from the blind, you've increased the size of the pot, and that encourages players to call a raise and stay in, even with a lesser hand, because the pot odds have improved. With anything other than aces or kings, you'll generally be better off waiting for the flop and seeing what develops.